Hi, thought I'd do a quick video about my new hobby. I'm no expert whatsoever. I like watches. I thought I'd start buying for fun and a little bit of investment as well, some vintage watches. And the first one I bought was a Bulova. I'd had my eye on one for a long time. Finally decided upon this one, which is a hand wound 17 jewels. It didn't come with this strap. It came with a metal one, which wasn't original, but I've bought this green NATO strap, which I think looks a lot better. Now, I have cleaned this up somewhat. The glass had a few scratches on it, and the case I've polished up, just hand polished, just a bit of time and effort. And I've polished up the glass as much as I can, but you can see there is a nasty scratch or even slight crack on the left hand side, but you don't really see that from the front. But using a little bit of whitening toothpaste and a microfiber cloth, putting it basically on the floor and doing this for quite a while, I managed to get the glass a lot better than it was. And this is the thing, I'm looking for watches that generally aren't mint. Something I think, oh, I can get that. Bit of time and effort would get the case looking better. Had the back off, got the mechanism out. I cleaned the face. Again, the face was a bit grubby. Some careful cleaning with a cotton bud in some mild soap and just gently cleaning the face. It's amazing what you can do, but you have to be very careful and take your time. So this is something I bought on eBay. I bought all my watches on eBay, and that's part of the fun is, you know, you're looking for watches, you're bidding on them. Many I don't get. Eventually, sometimes you're lucky and you get one. Perhaps it hasn't been listed very well, it's not got very good photos, it's finishing at a funny time. But do the research, make sure the thing's working, ask the seller, is your watch working? Because quite often they won't even pop that in the description. So I will ask them, is it working? Is it keeping good time? So I'm not wanting to get mechanically involved with the watch. I want to just perhaps enhance the cosmetic side of it. So as I said, you know, get the back off, clean the case, perhaps get some minor scratches out, improve the look, lift the look of the watch, add in some value, but without going too harsh, and put a new strap on it. Now, interestingly, this didn't come with a box, but I was very lucky. An original box came up on eBay, and I managed to purchase that very cheaply. I mean, sometimes these things, the boxes go for more than the actual watches. So that's my first purchase, and I went for this one because Roger Moore of the Saint, he wore this brand in the original Saint series. Not this exact watch, but something very similar. And it's something I thought, you know, I quite fancy getting one of the watches he wore. Now, when it did arrive, I'm kind of surprised at the size. These are old retro watches. This is a 1960s one. They're on the small size, so I don't know the exact measurement on this, but it's about 30 to 33 millimeter width, not including the crown. And to our modern eye, they're quite a small watch. On the wrist, they're quite a small. They're still smart. Maybe they come back in fashion, I don't know. So it's probably not something I would wear, but it's in the collection. They're not making these anymore, so I'm hoping they will hold their value and maybe go up. And now I've managed to find a box for a very reasonable price. I think I paid £7 or £8 for the box. That has made it a better package. Okay, so that's the first watch I bought. The second watch I bought was a Tissot, which I'm wearing today. Tissot Sea Star. So this is approximately 1972, automatic. These were made in conjunction with Omega, and they share a they share the mechanism that some of the Omega Seamasters do. I can't remember offhand what the number of the movement is, but I looked into it, and this was an age where Tissot were basically in collaboration with Omega, making very fine timepieces indeed. Now this one, again, bought off eBay, hasn't got the right strap, but it's a nice strap. I've cleaned the strap up, I've rebrushed the clasp using a scourer to get a brushed look. The same with the case. The glass was in quite a scratched up state. I've managed to get that looking a lot better. I've had the movement out, I've cleaned the face up. So that's looking a lot sharper and brighter, and polished the sides up, just hand polishing, and rebrushed the front again using a scourer in one direction. You can get a good brush steel effect. Well, it's not effect, it is a brush steel. This is what it's meant to be. But it had a few kind of scratches on it, so it's just made it more uniform again. I'm really pleased with that, and this isn't a bad size watch in modern standards. It's not huge, but I like it. I would wear that. That's a nice looking watch. And Tissot, you can pick these up relatively cheap. I think I did well on this one. I think I paid £40. But I've seen they can go for quite a bit more, you know, maybe £150 with the wind behind it, depending on who's bidding. And I think they represent a really good value watch at the moment. To get something that's basically got an Omega movement in it, really good quality, automatic. It's, you know, just, it works well. It keeps very good time. I've worn this for a few days and it keeps very good time. And to the point where I'm looking for more Tissots to buy. I think they're a great watch, especially these older ones, these 1970s ones. So if you're thinking of buying vintage watches and you don't want to spend a fortune, Tissot mechanical watches, I'm not so interested in the quartz ones, but the earlier mechanical watches, automatics especially, something to look out for. I'm learning, I'm reading about them. There's quite a few different models. But yeah, interesting, and I think they still look pretty good. So that was my second purchase. So my third purchase, the Tissot, the guy put it in this box, a rotary box. He sent it to me in this box. I thought, well, that's nice. It's a vintage rotary box. I'm going to have to buy myself a rotary now to go in it. So I looked for a rotary. It's not something I really wanted to collect, but the earlier ones are quite nice. And I found this one. And I think I paid £10 for it, something like that. And it's working very nicely. It's a good size watch, a more modern, larger size. I think it's like 36mm, something like that. I had this NATO strap hanging around, so I put it on there. It's too big. The NATO strap's too big, you can see, because it didn't come with a strap. But I've ordered a proper size strap, which will be a kind of champagne colour, I think. So I'm waiting for that to arrive, and I will pop that on. It's 18 karat gold plate, I do believe. And again, it was pretty dirty, bit scratched up, and I've done my usual trick of, you know, getting the movement out, clean up the face, polish up the case as much as possible, not too hard, don't want to remove any more of the gold plating, and giving it a good clean, and it's looking good. It's looking quite bright now. I think that wasn't a bad purchase. I don't think it's going to go up tremendously in value, but I don't think it's going to go down. I think once I get the new strap, it's going to look better. And because I've got the box for free, it came with the Tissot, that can't harm the value having a box with it. Okay, so that's that one. And the last watch I've recently bought, because I bought these over a fairly short period of time, is I've been looking for an Omega, and they're just too expensive. I keep missing out on them. And Longines was another make. So after a long time of bidding, losing watches, I eventually won this watch. It finished at 10 past midnight, and I put quite a large bid on it to kind of scare other bidders off, and that seemed to do the trick because no one else bid on it. It's a mechanical watch, stainless steel. It's circa 1950s. And I haven't had to do too much of this. I've given it a bit of a polish up. I haven't had the movement out yet because I've had the back off. It's got a beautiful movement. I can't show you that now. There is a few scratches on the back, and I didn't do all of these. But it's one of those ones where the back just presses on. So you've got to get a flathead screwdriver and kind of lever it against the lug, and that pops the back off. But to remove the crown, there's a very small screw. I think that is the screw to remove the crown. It looks like it's been touched a few times. All the other screws looking Mac, and there's one small screw kind of about here. Very, very, very small. I haven't got a small enough watch screwdriver to unscrew it, because I believe if you unscrew 1.5 turns, something like that, you can then pull the crown all the way out. And of course, once I've done that, I can remove the movement. And the reason I want to remove the movement is I want to gently see if some of this patina may clean off. I'm going to have to be very careful. Some of it looks like it is a little bit like a kind of dirt, where some of it may be patina that's oxidized or whatever, and it's not going to come off. I quite like the fact it's got this patina on it. Now, I was told the lens is like a plexiglass, which they were. That's how they made lenses in these days, or glass, whatever you call it. And apparently, they do let some moisture. You wouldn't see it, it won't gather, but it draws some moisture through. And over time, that's what causes the dials to discolor or whatever happens to them. But if I could get the movement out, I could probably clean the numbers, make them look a bit brighter, brush over the hands and the face, but I'm going to be super careful because I don't want to muck up that face. It's working very, very nice. There was a picture of the movement, and I've had the back off. I mean, the movement is beautiful. Being Longines, the quality, as soon as you see the movements, you're kind of in awe. They really are beautiful. Well, I don't know if I paid too much for this. I don't know. You know, I paid £110 for this one, and I'm hoping. I mean, you don't see Longines watches usually for less than 200 of any description. So one that's in pretty good quality condition like this. It's got the original crown. The sides are a kind of milled. It's hard, I don't know if the camera picked that up. They're not like highly polished. They've got like a kind of straight milling, like a coin edge. Like a kind of coin edge on both sides, which is interesting. Again, it's a small watch, very similar size to the Bulova, is that how you pronounce it? Bulova. But it's a premium brand, so it's my highest brand out of the 4 watches. I guess it's a bit higher than Tissot. And it's interesting because, say, circa 1950s. So it's an old watch. And as was the fashion, they are quite a small watch. So not one I'd probably wear. I'd put it on. It looks okay, but it looks a bit dinky, to be fair. But nonetheless, a nice thing to have. I'm hoping an investment. They're not making any more of these ones, are they? So, and as more people are getting into vintage watches, people are snapping these up. So I think there's never been a better time to buy decent quality vintage watches, because once they're off the market, they're off the market into people's collections. You know, there's adverts on TV at the moment for the vintage watch club, and you can buy vintage watches. It's a very fashionable thing to do at the moment. I think people are looking at ways to invest in something that they can enjoy. Doesn't take up a lot of room. It's different. It's, you know, people invest in Bitcoin, they invest in all sorts of things, but why not a watch? You know, I used to buy motorbikes and have classic motorbikes. I've got rid of all my bikes now, and they're great, but they take up a lot of room. There's a lot of work, servicing you got to do, and such like. But this is a bit of an easier hobby to maintain and cheaper. So I'm going to be adding to my watch collection when I can find bargains on eBay. So it takes a lot of work. It's not easy, and you have to be strict with yourself. You know, you don't want to be bidding after a few beers and you go over the top. I say this one, I think I paid £27 for that. So I think I did pretty well. I mean, there's one identical they're trying to sell in America for $400. I don't think it's worth anywhere near that, but it's an identical one. But even so, I think I did well with £27 for that one. We were, I think, about £12 for that one. £110 I spent on this one, which is my biggest purchase to date. But I feel pretty comfortable with that, and I think it's worth a bit more. And this one, I really think I did well with this. This was, I think, about £40. I'm very happy with that. I think that could be worth 150. Now it's looking a bit better with a decent advert out. It's a pity it hasn't got the original strap. That strap looks pretty good, but trying to track down the original strap for it is nigh on impossible, so I'll probably stick with this one for now. Maybe I'll get a nice leather strap on there at some point. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. As I said, I'll probably add into my watch collection. I'm looking at another Tissot at the moment, an earlier one, a PR 156, I think, which is similar shape to this, but it's more to do with racing car kind of heritage rather than the diving heritage, but it looks very similar. So I'm looking at that, and I'm still keeping an eye out for an Omega, but they're all going too expensive, same as I'd like a Tudor as well. But I think it's going to take me a while to track one of those down for a price that I'm willing to pay. Thanks for watching the video. Bye-bye.